All right, we are going to start our city block drawing. The first thing that you need to know about your city block is where you're going to put your vanishing points. So remember, your vanishing points are your eye level. So if you put your vanishing points in the middle, it looks like you're maybe on the, I don't know, 5th story, kind of looking down over some short buildings, but also looking up at some tall ones. If you put your vanishing point up high, then it looks like you're up high and you're looking down. So most of your buildings will have, you'll see all the roofs. Like if someone was having a party up here, you could see it. You could also put your vanishing point down low where it looks like you're more on street level, and then you'll be looking up at all of your buildings and they'll all be like this. You won't be able to see any roof parties from the street. I have some examples on Canvas on a document, some different student works. So you can look at that and kind of get an idea of what I mean about where to put your vanishing point. Okay. So I'm gonna put mine kind of, I don't know, maybe about 2/3 of the way up. And I'm gonna draw it really lightly because I really don't need the line other than to put my points on it. And again, you don't want to make your points really humongous because all of your lines going there, that's not very precise place to land. So you want your point to be just big enough to see and have your ruler go to. You can also, this is an option, if you want to put your points off of the page, you can do that, it's totally fine. You basically just attach your paper to a larger sheet of paper, you put your point over there, and then you use it as you go through your drawing. So that's totally fine to do. Okay, so when I start, I don't want to start dead center. I want to go off to the right a little bit. It's just a little more interesting visually than to have something dead in the middle. It's one of our composition rules. So I'm going to start just like we did with the boxes with a vertical line. This will be my one building at this corner of the city block. And all of my buildings are going to line up together on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and have that line go all the way there so that I don't have to draw it each time. My buildings will be right next door to each other. So my first building, let me make that a little bit darker. My first building, let's say, I don't know, maybe about this big. Oh, I did that kind of out of order. I'm sorry, I hope that doesn't confuse you. I just don't want this line to go all the way because all my buildings are going to be different heights, because you want your buildings to be different heights. That's also way more interesting than everybody being the same height. Okay, and here's my top, my roof rather. All right, so there's my first building. Now when I put another one next to it, and my sidewalk is going to be right here. I'll show you how to do that in a second. My next building, it's going to be right next to it. Oh, I didn't make that very vertical because I did it out of order. Okay. So they're going to share that line. They're right next to each other. So we've got that line. And then this will be the other side of it. It'll be about the same width. Now this one, see, we've gone over our horizon line, our eye level. So now this one, you're not really going to be able to see that roof party. You can see the top of the roof, but you won't be able to see the band playing up there at the roof party. All right, so now I've got two buildings next to each other, and I'm just gonna keep going and adding more buildings. But I wanna show you how to do your sidewalk. So your sidewalk's gonna be right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right here at this point, right where I started, okay? And I'm just gonna come down a little bit. Do not draw a line right there, all right? Just leave a little space and kind of look at how big your buildings are. Like, I'm not gonna come way down here and do a big old sidewalk that's almost as big as my building. That would be ridiculous. I'm just gonna come down, I don't know, maybe like right there. And in real life, right, sidewalks are horizontal, right? They're laying down on the ground. And then that point's gonna go up there. And then the lines on the sidewalk are also horizontal, which means, I meant to be using my mechanical pencil, which means that all of those lines that divide up the sidewalk have to be drawn using a point. So I'm gonna start right here. And if you get really good, you will have these, you know, squares of the sidewalk or whatever get closer together, because that's what happens when things get farther away, right? They get smaller. Now, one mistake I see students do is they will draw that first line. It's all sized up with the point, and then they'll go, well, look what happens. You're not even on the point anymore. So each line has to be drawn using that vanishing point. It's not like the tops of the windows that I just showed you, right? You have to do each one at a time. And I put my pencil here on the point because I'm looking right here, and I know that it's on the point because my pencil lead's there. All I have to do is just move my ruler. Okay, now the other side of the sidewalk. Same thing, but now I use the other point. This is hard to do because I can't get my head over there. All right, and then I'll just keep going up. Now, to make your sidewalk look like it's thick, right, that you step up onto it, because you step up onto a sidewalk, right? That's what protects pedestrians. So your very little corner right here, I'm just going to do a little line, and then a line going to each point. And now I've got that thickness. So where this little sidewalk line ends, I can put all the little verticals. Because in real life, it's vertical, right? You step up onto the sidewalk. All right, I'm not gonna do the whole thing for time. Okay, let me show you street lines. So your street lines, if you want a solid one, right? You guys are probably driving at this point or learning how to drive. You got those solid white lines on the street. I do that little line going to that point. Okay, now my dashed lines, actually I'm gonna put a crosswalk right here, so I think maybe I'll start them right here. I'm just kind of, that's where I'm gonna start my lines. I made that really wide. Oop. Okay. Oh, I meant that to be dashed. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry. If I was a really good video editor, I would edit that part out, but I'm not, so I won't. Okay, here's where I'm starting. So what I'm gonna do is I'll do one line, skip a space, and I'll have them get shorter as I get farther away, because again, things get smaller as I move farther. Okay, then I've already got this guy. Now I need to do the other end. So the reason that I'm using my points is because in real life, lines on the road are horizontal, right? They're laying down on the road. They're not standing straight up. So if something is horizontal in real life, you have to use the vanishing points to draw it. Because if they're horizontal in real life, then they're orthogonal on your drawing. I just have a little bit of erasing to do. There's a little guy where I kind of extended it too far. All right, so there's my dash lines. And then I probably actually, I'll do another video with going a little bit farther with the city block drawing, but I'm gonna put like another city block over here, I think, a couple more buildings. Okay, so get your city block started. The goal is to have 10 buildings. Obviously you can draw more, but minimum of 10 buildings. And they all have to have windows, doors, and things like that. I have a whole rubric that I will also post on Canvas that has what you need to have in it. But windows on your sidewalks, and street lines. Oh, let me show you how to do an alley really quick, and then I'll do another video. Okay, so when I drew this building right next to it, they shared that line, right? So if I want it to look like there's a little alley, or you could even put a street there or something, but there's basically a space between the next building. So instead of them sharing that line, right, they would share this. If I put another one right next to it, I'm just gonna skip a little bit of a